I've watched over 1,000 hours of technical analysis videos. I've taken courses. I've paid for private tutoring. And honestly, it almost ruined my trading. We're going to do a replay here. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible, but you really should be going through this slow. I made a white vertical line, and this is where we're going to start a replay. But before we do that, let's look at the 3-month chart. Now, this is right before the MACD had crossed bearish. Of course, it's going to cross bearish late, but we want to see the final drop and the bottom. We will go into the weekly and we'll hit replay. Now you're going along on the weekly. You see that RSI is above the 14. It looks like the MACD is getting ready to cross bullish. And if you watch the last video, you'll do the top-down analysis. We'll start with the 3-month. And you can see that on the 3-month, the RSI is heading up. The MACD is still bearish. However, the MACD is heading downward. This doesn't look, looks like it go either way. And we'll go into the 2-month. And you can see right here that MACD is bearish and the RSI has taken a turn up. This would suggest that there will be a small gain. And let's look at the monthly. Now, the monthly does not show that. So this suggests that the gain is going to be very small. And we'll go over the daily and see what happened. We just printed a new red candle. And the daily, I got all this stuff here I don't need. You can see that there's a slight divergence, but let's see how this plays out. We'll go on for a few days here. And you can see that the price is riding to 12. MACD just crossed bullish, and the RSI is not only above 50, it went above the 14 moving average. So we go to the weekly cross, and this would indicate that we're in for a gain. The month doesn't say so, so I would suspect this gain is going to be kind of small, and that would indicate a possible top. And since we got in here, the gain was actually fairly small. And if you go before, it's 30% okay in a market like this, but that's not where we started, and we're looking at the bear market. Weekly says we could go, but the day looks like it's dragging it down. And now you'll see this went up, and we do have a candle, okay, a green candle. You could probably swing trade this. However, you're looking at a small gain according to what I see. There's your red candle. You should be clicking this fast. The only reason I'm doing this fast is because I want to save you time. You really should spend your time doing this yourself. And if I go too slow, you're just not going to watch it. Basically, it'd be a waste of my time. But I am trying to teach an important concept here. And we'll go on to the weekly. And if you notice, the RSI, even on the same candle, will change positions. Now, this is really important to understand, because if you're waiting, for example, the RSI to cross the 14, it could cross the 14 and cross back under before that candle's done. If you want to be more conservative, you would wait for confirmation. Week doesn't look all that bad. There was a gain there. It's bouncing off the 21, and boom, that drop's pretty significant. I know I clicked pretty quick. That's a 16% drop in a day. If you want to see what happened, we'll go to the 4-hour. And you can see on the 4-hour that there's a sign to get out. Does every sign on the 4-hour mean get out? No, but it is a time where you might actually watch. And I'm kind of skipping that for the sake of, and if you're looking at the day and you look at the RSI, it's down there actually pretty low. All right, we took a turn up on the daily. You go to the 4 hour and you got a good drop here. You might be able to do a swing trade on the 4 hour. It could end up being a day trade because it is the 4 hour. So you've got this entry. You got the signal when it crosses the 14. The MACD looks like it's going to cross bullish, and it did. So this is indicating that it could go up, and then you have that candle down. Of course, the day just doesn't look that positive, and the week looks even worse. Being the week looks bad, the day looks bad, and I'm sure the month looks bad. Okay, I don't think this 4 hour candle is going to go anywhere. I could be wrong. And that's the whole thing. You just go over this and over this. Okay. And then here you have a slow decline on the 4 hour with one candle without the wick, measures 4.32. That's a pretty good day trade if you can get 4.32 on that. I'm not a day trader, and I prefer swing trades or position tradings, which are longer. But you go through all this, and you really should be doing it slow. And if you really want to get into it, you do each time frame, and you get to see. Here we are on the weekly and the monthly. Save some time and go on the monthly, and I'm making several clicks per candle here. Okay, I've got it on play. And let's go to 30-minute, we'll know. All right, now I've got this on 10x. It's kind of fast. It's okay to do this. I recommend going as slow as possible and checking it out. Again, for the sake of speed, you should be switching between all the time frames here. You see here, I'll pause it here. It broke here. So if you went to the 4 hour, you can see that here's where it broke. That's not really a great trade, but it's not all that bad in a day if you catch it up 12%. So I would imagine for a day trade, you should be pretty satisfied. Pays better than a CD at the bank. But again, this is not about day trading, it's about swing trading. It can be, and this technique will work, but you will, if you're trading on the 4 hour, you may not go to the month or the week, and you still would. Best trades are going to be when the monthly's going up. So I'll play this again, and you can see the candle moving. This moves awful slow on the monthly. It doesn't look like anything's happening, but if you watch the bottom of the candle, it is. And I really can't make it go any faster. But you can see the RSI, and we'll switch down to the weekly, and we'll wait for a sign to get in on the weekly. And we see that we crossed. Still doesn't look that great. Weekly is starting to pick up. Now this would indicate another little gain. However, I don't expect it. It could go higher, but we already looked at the chart. You're looking at 5%. At best, looks like maybe 7. Well, I was wrong. 10%. So you can see the divergence being formed here with the MACD and the RSI. That does not guarantee that you're going to take off. Okay, divergences fail, and I think we're going to see one fail here pretty soon. Well, maybe not. You see this gain in this type of market, that's not bad. It's riding the 12 EMA. It's dipped below it, closed below it, not a good sign. MACD is getting ready to cross bullish. I would say that at that point in time that this trade would have been over. You can't, at very least, you'd take it here, but that's way late. If you took it on the cross of the MACD or on the 4 hour, it would have been more accurate. But hey, that's all right. 12% in 23 days in this market. Go back to the week. So this is all about patience and doing it over and over. I'll stop and I'll speed it up at this point. Okay, so we have some divergence going here. Now this is also time to watch. You've got the RSI riding the 14. The MACD is bullish, so you want to keep that up. We'll look. But these two lines are getting closer. The RSI is getting closer to the 14. Keep in mind, each candle is a month, but it looks like we could be nearing the bottom. We'll go back to the week. Now the week took off. Now we're going to have some gain from that point. Okay. And that looks to be a good trade. We'll see how this plays out. Now you've got the RSI that crossed downward. Doesn't say sell, but at this point in time, you'll stop. And in 11 days, some 25% better or worse. If you got out at this candle, 25%. If you got out at the bottom of the wick, 23%. I don't think this day is quite over with, so that could still drop some more. But if you go to the 4-hour, you can see that the MACD's getting ready to cross bearish. So I'll play this again. Again, you should do this one at a time. Here you got it crossing. But look, I mean, a lot of times when the RSI goes above 70, it looks like it's not going to fail. At least not right now. So we're kind of looking to see what happens. You've got bearish divergence forming this line here. And you got this decline here while the price is heading the other. And you've got a RSI that's leveling out and MACD that's starting to straighten out. Now, this could go either way. Now, it's up to you if you're going to take profit here and you don't have to sell it all. You go back to the weekly. The weekly is starting to turn, but it is above 50. So this could go either way, and this could be a sign of the bottom, actually. We'll see what happens here on the daily. There should probably be a little pullback, even if we're in the bull run. You got your first red candle, and you've got a new low coming in, and you got a higher high. So you got the trend is definitely in on the day. Now, the reasons you would stay in here is that MACD is still bullish. RSI is still above the 14 and above 70. One strategy that I would do is take some profit here, and then I would ride this up and see what happens. Now, this could be a warning sign. So we'll see what happens here. And let's look at how the day has affected the week. And the week's starting to look good. Everything's bullish. And on the monthly looks like it's going to cross the 14. So this could be the end of the bear market. So this is a high time to pay attention. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and play this again. I will go on the monthly since we're in it for the long term. We'll see how this plays out. All right, so it looks like we might print a higher high. We'll go to the weekly and see how this is shaping up. Now we got our first red candle on the weekly, of course. One might take profit there. That's 50% profit in a month, 4 weeks. You see these things. Now, you don't have to use these indicators. Use your favorite indicator. Here you have the rounding top, and you have the MACD on the daily back, a week before. And this is why you would go. Again, the reason I'm not going back to these other time frames is for time's sake. These you should do really slowly. Again, if I go really too slow, you won't finish this video. You'll get bored and click away, even if it's good for you. And not everybody. When you go to the 4-hour, you'll see not only this had broke the 12. Now the 12 moving average is going below the 21 simple moving average. That's also very bearish. Now let's see how bearish it is. Now it goes a lot quicker on the 4-hour, and you can see things shaping up, and you can see that even this here. Now I'll put a line here so we can see what happened on the day. I didn't intend to go that fast. It takes a while to catch up. See, on the day it crossed, and this day's taking charge. This day says down. And then the week, it's got to look bad by now as well. Actually, not as bad as I thought. But you can see that we have a red candle. Now, what we're looking for here is a higher low. Let's play and see if we've got it. First, let's look at the monthly. Okay, the monthly does not look good. So we'll play the weekly, and I'll speed up this part. All right, so apparently we put in a higher high and a higher low. Now, there's no guarantee this weekly candle's not done with. This candle could shoot down. I doubt it. Now we have our other weekly candle. It's going up as well. So we have a higher low, higher high. We've got the MACD going above 0, and it's crossed bullish. Now we have the RSI turning down. It went back up in the same candle. So let's go see how we're doing on the monthly. And let's see what the monthly says. The monthly is trying to cross over the 14 moving average on the RSI, and it's not doing it. And the MACD is leveling off, may cross. So we're kind of waiting. If you want to be conservative, we'll go to the 2 month as well. 2 month is starting to shape up a little bit. 3 month, of course, that's going to lag behind. Each candle is 3 months. So here we have a rounding of it. This could be it for a bit, but we have to wait and see. This definitely is a warning here. Now we can have consolidation. We can break below the 12. The RSI is still above 50 and still above the 14. However, it's flirting with going under. And if you can, I wouldn't really consider this a lower low. That's more consolidation. This is a low. Now the question is, are we going to print a higher low than this or not? And only time will tell. Okay, so we can go to the day, see what the day looks like. Okay, and I'm going to pause here while I explain things. I didn't pause it fast enough. You got the MACD getting ready to cross. This crossed the 14. And of course, play with these. Use your favorite indicator, but the indicators definitely told you to pay attention. If you made this trade here 20% in 3 days, it may not be done. Especially here, you want to go and look at all your options. Look at what's going on. You got the 4 hour just past the 20, and it's looking great. So we'll go back to the daily, which is a little bit faster, and see what's happening. We just printed another candle, pretty high. Now we got a candle that started red, went green, went red again. Now what we're looking for at this point, this here is sideways, but then it went up. So we're looking for, this is a higher high, which is considered an uptrend. This is above zero. Weekly looks great. You can ladder in case it goes south. And on these low rates, you need to pay attention. When you go to the 4 hour, you can see if you're a day trader, you would get out somewhere around here, might get back in. Not a bad, just a couple days trade. This is more than a day trade, but 31%. And if that's all you got, that's all you got. That's what the market is. So let's look at the monthly. The monthly is going really good. Now I'm going to play this out for the sake of a shorter video. And if you guys want a longer video, let me know in the comments below. I'll be glad to do it, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so we switched to the weekly just to have you show this to you. Tempted to get in here. It's not actually a terrible place to get in, but you would have had a drawdown if you did, especially if you got in on this candle thinking it's going to come in. That's 37% drawdown. I know it doesn't look like it. That's why we wait for confirmation. And once this hit above here, boom, and it hit 12, moving average. Once it closed above that, the confirmation still 3 months for 43%. And you still might stay in because you have a MACD that's bullish. And on the week, still waiting for confirmation. So for a swing trade, you can see that there's plenty of time to get out. You got it out here. One might take profit when it crossed here at 37%. MACD was still bullish. Cross bullish. Good. Couldn't blame a guy for selling everything. Now you might leave a small amount in as a trailer, and the reason you would do that is because on the weekly, it kind of told you it still could go. MACD is bullish. This here is hitting 70 almost. Once it goes above 70. If not rejected, you're going to get your best gains. Now, at the moment, MACD is getting ready to cross bearish. Switch to the monthly. I'm going to let this run out, and then I'll speed things up again just to get through this and give you an idea. Now, it's you that has to do this work, and it's you that has to go over this over and over. But you can also use these buttons here to buy and sell. And there's go down to the replay trading at the bottom. And it will show your trades, show the percentages, and there's a lot that you can do on that. So I'll let this run, and I'll speed it up for you. Okay, so you can see on the monthly how this crossed. A lot of times when this crosses, it'll go down. The MACD crosses bullish, meaning blue line's on top. Go to the 2 month and check it out. It's starting to shape up the 3 month. Monthly's pretty good. Weekly's not bad. Now, had you traded on this That's quite the drop there. So just on the MACD cross, like I said, when it crosses, a lot of time it goes down. A really good time is when the MACD goes above 0. And when this goes above 50, you might go 45. You might put an alert around in here. When it hit 40, you start paying attention. And if you go by this hitting 50 on a conservative aspect, probably going to get in a little late, but still a 44% gain. You might end up selling here if you go on a lower time frame like the daily for a swing trade. 3 months not bad. On the daily, you would have got in on this MACD cross, this also, and then you would have took profit here, which is 41%. And the reason for that on a swing trade in 4 weeks, if you don't take profit there, you're in for a 10% loss, which would be roughly taking 44% down to 28. And had you gotten in when this crossed again and took you 40-some percent, 16%, that's what you get. That's what you get. But you have your bullish divergence here, so that indicates that there's a possible drop coming, and it did come. Okay, and then again, when it crossed again, here's where you could get your, if you're lucky, 40%. It may likely be about 40 instead of your 50. You may consider staying in. But you got 40% here, cashed out, made a 15%, cashed out, made 39%. Don't have my calculator, but you're looking at probably 100% because you're getting this 40% after a 40% gain. That's the swing trade for you. And this is the end of the bear market. This is just consolidation. And to speed this up, I'll just end this and we'll just look at it. We're somewhere around in here. Boom. Okay, we did have a decline. You go to the monthly, it's quite obvious. So once this crossed here, off to the races. And if you're playing on the monthly and you come across here, 165%, there are signs to get out on the weekly. I guarantee you. Okay, so we'll go to the weekly. Boom, here we are. Okay, now this crossed. Why would you want to get out? One, you don't know where this is heading when it's real life. And there was to the bottom a 34% drop. And again, you can hit this 34% drop. All the influencers are telling you it's going to go up. It's going to keep going up. And it keeps going down, which I personally have heard here. I've had someone I respected say this is it. We're still in the bull market. All indications, especially on the month, said different. You had the MACD that crossed back in November, late October, whatever. And on the weekly, of course, showed first. So this was the top. You had a lot of indications and a lot of times to take profit and get back in. Even here was a 15% drop. That's a 30% drop. So if you can get it 70 cents on the dollar, buying back in, come back in and make 50%, it's kind of like you're shorting yourself. So anyway, I encourage you to take your time, do this, and I hope this helps.